You're listening to the Astromommy Daily Horoscope, a forecast that hopes to shine a light in the dark, helping us all see where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time subscriber, thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you being in the Astromommy community. Without further ado, here is the Daily Horoscope. Annular Solar Eclipse in Libra Deep Dive. Rebuilding After Trauma. Special report for October 2nd, 2024. Good morning, friends. Well, today is the day of the annular solar eclipse in Libra. Usually I take about 4 days to write an eclipse deep dive and horoscopes, but since I lost so much time by having a 2.5-day migraine, I only had yesterday to work on it. Because of this, I am still working on the horoscopes, so I am posting today's post in 2 parts, the deep dive and then the horoscopes when they are finished. This way you will have what you need to watch the eclipse and understand the basic astrological significance as you go about your day. Since the eclipses affect the next 6 months, having the personalized horoscopes a little bit later won't change much. Okay, let's get into the astrology. Today we are going to go over eclipse basics, including Saros series basics. This particular annular solar eclipse in Libra and the Saros series that this eclipse and the lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago are both a part of, the tarot card associated with the part of the sky where this solar eclipse is occurring, and then later today, horoscopes for all 12 signs. If you would like to find out how to view the eclipse online, you can click here to find where the eclipse will be visible, and you can go to timeanddate.com's live stream page where they will be broadcasting today's annular solar eclipse. According to timeanddate.com, the annular solar eclipse will be visible in Rapa Nui, Easter Island, the Asin region of Chile, and Santa Cruz province of Argentina, and a partial solar eclipse will be visible in the South Pacific, South America, and Hawaii. Follow the link above to find out more about the path of this eclipse. Eclipse basics. First, let's discuss some basic eclipse theory so we are all on the same page as we go over what themes are coming up. There are 4 types of eclipses. Total, where the sun is blocked by the moon completely. Partial, where the moon takes a bite out of the sun. Annular, where the moon covers the center of the sun but not totally, so there is a ring, the ring of fire, around the moon, as seen in the picture above. And hybrid, this is a combination of an annular and a total. This eclipse is an annular eclipse with the path of totality passing over Chile and Argentina. You can see images of the path here from NASA. You can find out more about the astronomy of this eclipse on the website space.com by using this link here. Second, a solar eclipse is a supercharged new moon when the sun and the moon conjoin in the sky at the same or almost the same location from our point of view. This results in the moon moving across the face of the sun, blocking out the light of the sun as she passes. The moon then is in between the sun and the earth, as you can see in the picture below of this eclipse using the astronomy program Solar System Scope. You can also see in this next picture the grand trine forming between Saturn, Mars, and Venus, surrounding the Earth and the Moon with the energy of rebuilding, which we will discuss in more detail later in today's post. Saros series basics. Third, eclipses are not all the same. Each eclipse is part of a family of eclipses called a Saros series, of which there are 19 north and 19 south cycles. If you want to get really technical, you can learn more about the Saros series by clicking here. But basically, all you need to know for the purpose of this post is that not all eclipses carry the same energy because they are from different families. Each eclipse family or Saros series has a beginning, middle, and end to its cycle, and therefore each Saros series has a birth chart, symbolizing when this series had its first partial eclipse at either the North or South Pole and was born. The Saros series family that the previous lunar eclipse and this annular solar eclipse belong to is called Saros Series 8 South, and began on April 1st, 1718 at 12:15 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time at the South Pole. This Saros series will not end until April 30th, 2962. Using the astrology program Solar Fire, I was able to cast a chart for Saros Series 8 South, which you can see below. We can look at the birth chart of any Saros series and glean information as to the nature of that particular series, just like how we can look at a person's birth chart and acquire information about that person's personality and characteristics, as well as events that will take place during the native's life. You can see in this chart from the year 1718 CE that the partial solar eclipse, the new moon, was in Aries. And for the nerdy astrologers on here, Saturn was on the new moon and Mars midpoint. According to astrologer Bernadette Brady in her book Predictive Astrology, The Eagle and the Lark, Saros Series 8 South symbolizes, quote, separation and loss, to be parted, to finish something, and to feel sad at its completion. Physical injury is also possible through overstraining one's strength. This is not the time to undertake strenuous physical activities, unquote. So Saros Series 8 South symbolizes a new beginning or a fighting spirit due to separation, loss, or injury. This seems eerily fitting considering all of the destruction that Hurricane Helene caused just a few days ago. One of the encouraging facets of this Saros series' birth chart is that Jupiter, which you can see at the bottom of the chart at about the 5 o'clock position, was in harmonious aspects to the nodes at the time, indicating help, aid, and blessings coming in the near future. Hopefully, this is what the people affected by the storm are experiencing, help and aid coming to their rescue. It will be very nice once cell service is restored to that area and we can all get in touch with those we love and care about. Something interesting is that if we advance the chart of 1718, the Sun opposed Saturn while Jupiter made a square to Saturn, only 2 weeks apart from each other. So this eclipse's birth chart happened amidst a very powerful point in the Jupiter-Saturn cycle, and so does this solar eclipse we are experiencing today. Jupiter and Saturn had their first square out of 3 of this current cycle on August 19th, 2024, symbolizing a major turning point. The second square will be on December 24th, 2024, and the third and final square at this point in the cycle will be on June 15th, 2025. The last time we encountered Saros Series 8 South was actually when the nodes were in Pisces and Virgo in September of 2006. I find it really interesting since the nodes are about to shift back into Pisces and Virgo in January 2025. It may be helpful to look back in time to what was taking place in your life during the 6 months following September 2006, as it may actually give you clues as to what is coming in the next 6 months. By knowing this information about the specific Saros series that we are dealing with, we can delineate a bit more about this upcoming eclipse and say that it may have a lot more to do with a fresh new start or provoking a fighting spirit after a period of separation, loss, or injury than we can just by looking at where the eclipse is occurring in your natal chart. This gives us a much deeper layer to explore. Annular solar eclipse in Libra. Okay, now that we've gone over some of the basics, let's get into this particular solar eclipse. First, let's take a look at the chart for the annular solar eclipse at 10 degrees Libra, 3 minutes, happening at 11:49 a.m. Pacific time on the West Coast or 2:49 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast. Today, Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. First, this eclipse is happening in the sign of Libra in the 10th house of the chart, which in mundane astrology is associated with the government and prominent leaders of a country, and on a personal level, the career, public recognition, and the mother. Libra is a cardinal air sign, meaning that it has the energy of initiation and change, as well as communication, sociability, and partnerships of all kinds. So first and foremost, the solar eclipse for the United States represents a new beginning for our government and leaders, which is very fitting considering this is an election year. Second, this solar eclipse is affecting our relationships, partnerships, and sense of what is just, fair, and responsible. Whatever house Libra rules in your natal chart will indicate the topics that will be emphasized in your personal life. We will discuss these in more detail in the horoscopes. The new moon is in an applying square to Mars in fall in Cancer. This is major as it means that this new beginning comes with a fighting spirit, an attitude of courage and determination to create stability and security within the self and the environment. Through the eyes of Libra, this means cooperation, working together to create peace and harmony, and if there is any fighting, it is fighting for what we feel is right, just, or fair. The square is of the nature of Mars, so that means fighting, struggling, and doing things that require a lot of effort, and not just physical, but emotional effort. We are being asked with this new moon energy to create peace and harmony by way of letting go of our complaints and gripes and moving the needle forward in a cooperative, collaborative manner. The Mars and Cancer energy does not necessarily like to do things without complaining, and so the fight may be turned inward as we fight the urge to lash out. But the Libra energy is supported by Venus's trine to Mars, tempering his rage and his fiery nature to push things too hard. So, whatever it is that you are dealing with, it won't be easy and it will come with challenges and struggles to emotionally keep it together. Additionally, the moon is in a sesquiquadrate to Uranus and Taurus retrograde, which is conjunct the demon star Algol, meaning that something very upsetting, disruptive, and sudden has just occurred, and now we are dealing with it by keeping our heads. Mercury is also making this same aspect to Uranus, so that indicates delays in news reports, communication, and travel due to something that disrupts the flow of energy. Second, the dispositor or the host of this eclipse in Libra is Venus, the planet of love, beauty, relationships, and what we value. Venus is currently in her detriment in Scorpio, and what is interesting is that just 10 days ago, Venus made a square to Pluto in Capricorn retrograde, indicating a very touchy subject coming up from the depths of our relationships. And now she is applying to a grand trine with the two malefics, Mars and Saturn. Mars is in Cancer, his fall, as I stated previously, and Saturn is in Pisces retrograde. The two malefics perfected their trine to each other on Monday, September 30th, 2024, which I feel was symbolic of two things. One, an easy, fast path for the delivery of their combined fate, which, since they are both in water signs, feels very fitting for a destructive storm that caused a lot of damage and loss. And two, an easy, unobstructed collaboration for the tearing down of structures that need to be rebuilt. So, on one level, this trine shows that something destructive is coming and it has no blocks. And on another level, it shows that something that needs to be rebuilt is about to come down. And this will actually be good in the long run. I say this because the trine is of the nature of Jupiter, which is about bringing energies together, feeling hope, receiving aid, help, and blessings that ultimately create abundance, community, and the merging of energies in an expansive, positive way. So, the way that I see this, for example, with the destruction caused by the hurricane, is that the act of the people coming together to help one another after such a disaster is actually a really beautiful thing, and one that will probably create lifelong bonds between people. With Venus and Scorpio also joining this grand trine, I feel that this is a bond built around trauma, yes, but it is also built around the deepest love and respect for our fellow humans. So I really see this grand trine with both the dispositors of the nodes, Venus and Mars, symbolizing rebuilding what has been torn down by a destructive force. We can look at this a bit more metaphorically too and say that this solar eclipse is a new beginning after something that was powerfully destructive in your life, and now you are rebuilding the structure or the foundation from a place of love and deep admiration for those involved. You want security and stability, and you desire commitment on the deepest level, and you are going about attaining these things with diplomacy, balance, and keeping in mind how it affects everyone involved. The Libra energy is strong, especially with Mercury in Libra there as well, having just come off his Cazimi, his conjunction with the Sun, which also happened on Monday, September 30th, 2024. So we are doing our best to stay grounded, level-headed, and supportive with our words, actions, and motivations right now. I find it interesting that Venus in Scorpio, as the ruler of the South Node, is actually in aversion to this eclipse, meaning that she is unable to see the conjunction. I feel that this, coupled with the fact that Mercury is recovering from combustion, but still obscured by the light of the sun, means that communication and help may be delayed. 2 weeks ago, following the lunar eclipse, Mercury opposed Saturn, and that symbolized a very powerful block in the communication and transportation arenas. And now, Mercury is not visible to us in the night sky yet, so we are having a lot of communication and travel issues and delays at this time. Third, this eclipse is very close to the South Node, being only 4 degrees 35 minutes past the Sun's conjunction with it, indicating a recent decrease, drain, or depression to our life force, vitality, and spirit, as well as life direction, motivation, and ambitions. So what we are working toward in our lives has had a recent setback. We can see this, of course, for the storm victims, but I can also see this in my own life, having just dealt with a 3-day migraine that set me back productivity-wise. For example, the South Node is located in my fifth house of creativity, so now that the migraine storm has passed, I am experiencing a new burst of fresh energy to create, which I can definitely attest to after the weekend of misery that I had. So whether you are dealing with the aftermath of the storm, and my heart truly goes out to you if you are, or you are dealing with a different setback, we are all dealing with a recent drain on our energy or direction in life right now. The sun itself is in his fall in Libra, and the moon at this degree lacks any dignity at all and is said to be peregrine. The moon will also enter the Via Combusta early tomorrow morning, which is a very troubling place for the moon from 15 degrees Libra to 15 degrees Scorpio, and that is when she will also perfect her square to Mars. I feel that these three things, the sun and fall, the moon about to enter the Via Combusta, and square Mars, symbolizes that there are still challenges to face as rebuilding structures, foundations, roads, and barriers all takes time, effort, and collaboration. And the biggest challenge will be to stay balanced, level-headed, and calm during it all. The correlating tarot card to 10 degrees Libra, Three of Swords. The tarot card associated with the 11th degree of Libra is the Three of Swords. This is a card that has to do with pain, suffering, and emotional hurt, often referred to as the heartache card. We just pulled this card last week on Monday, September 23rd, 2024, in the reverse position, indicating recovery from pain and hurt. On the card from the Universal Weight deck below, we can see three swords piercing a red heart. In the background, there are storm clouds and rain. The Three of Swords represents heartbreak, pain, and sorrow. It usually means that our feelings get hurt, and sometimes it could mean breakups or divorce. I think this is very interesting considering that this Sorrow Series 8 South is associated with loss, separation, and injury, all very painful things. Additionally, the 11th degree of Libra correlates with Saturn in Libra, which on the positive side symbolizes having a very strong sense of what is just, right, and ethical. Saturn in Libra is loyal, responsible, and fair. On the negative side, Saturn in Libra can indicate inhibitions or a sense of lack in relationships, love, or partnerships. The feeling like you are in this world alone and don't have a partner to share it with, which I think is so fitting for the Three of Swords, which indicates heartbreak. To summarize, first we have the nature of this Sorrow series representing a very supercharged new seed or new beginning that has a fighting, pioneering, courageous spirit that is in response to something painful that caused separation, loss, or injury. Second, we have the symbolism of the current eclipse chart that represents a new beginning in our relationships and partnerships that is caused by a trauma bond and includes rebuilding something after a period of fast destruction, coupled with a lack of communication and travel delays. Third, the energy of this degree of Libra is serious, responsible, and possibly very isolating. It's a lot to process and think about. I would love to hear your thoughts. I hope you've enjoyed this solar eclipse deep dive. The horoscopes will be up as soon as possible. Until later, Astromommy. Thank you for reading or listening to the Daily Horoscope. Quick links and resources can be found at the bottom of the newsletter. If you seek knowledge and enlightenment, the Astromommy newsletter may be right for you. Side effects of reading or listening to the Astromommy newsletter are common and include joy, jubilation, delight, happiness, gratitude, love, triumph, feeling in tune with the universe, experiencing deep insights, reflections, and contemplations, a lightened soul, a lighter step, feeling awake when others are asleep, illuminated, enlightened, having spiritual experiences, noticing repeating numbers, animals and nature, or songs on the radio that speak to you, getting vibes, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsmelliance, feeling like you know a secret language, biophilia, crying tears of joy, emotional literacy, feeling lively, stable, exalted, having an auric glow, or feeling like you woke up on the right side of the bed have all been reported. If you purchase anything through the affiliate links that I provide in the newsletters, I will make a very small commission. Thanks for listening.